Welcome again to Mr. Benjamin's Math World. Today we are going to continue with the division of monomials, but this time we are going to be using fractions in the division of monomials. We are dividing 4/5 x to the third y to the second, which is a monomial, divided by 3/6 x to the negative 2 y to the negative 2b. Our first step will be dividing the fractions. Because we are dividing fractions, the division is represented by this line. So we are dividing these two fractions. Let's divide the fractions. It says 4/5 divided by 3/6 equals. Let's get the result for the fractions first. When dividing fractions, we can cross multiply. So we are multiplying 4 times 6, which is 24, and 5 times 3, which is 15. Let me remind you that dividing fractions is the same as multiplying times the reciprocal of the second fraction, which is, I'm just going to show you the same process. This is the same as 4/5 multiply the reciprocal of the second fraction. The reciprocal consists of switching the fraction. The denominator becomes the numerator, and the numerator becomes the denominator. Once you have the multiplication, you multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators, which is 4 times 6 is 24, and 5 times 3 equals 15. Notice that in the multiplication, I multiply the numerators and I multiply the denominators, but in the division of fractions, I crossed multiply without getting the reciprocal of the second fraction. I just brought it down the same way it was, 3/6. And I cross multiply, 4 times 6, 24, 5 times 3, 15. And we got the same result. Now I have the result for the fractions. The result is 24 over 15. And then I'm going to divide the monomials. I'm going to divide x to the third divided by x to the negative 2. And I'm sure you remember from our past video, when dividing monomials, we do not divide exponents, we subtract them. So I'm going to subtract. Let me show the subtraction right here. X to the 3 minus, because I'm subtracting, minus what? Minus negative 2. Open parenthesis, negative 2. And then y is 2 minus what? Negative 2. And bring down the b, but the b is not in the numerator. The b is on the denominator, so I put the b down, not up. So the result will be 24x to the 3 negative times negative positive 2, y to the 2 negative times negative positive 2 over 15b equals 24x 3 plus 2 5, y 2 plus 2 4 over 15b. Our second exercise of division of monomials with fractions, we are dividing 8x to the negative 5, y to the negative 2/3, divided by 3/4 x to the negative 2, y. So I'm dividing the coefficients, 8 divided by 3/4. Let's show the division. When we say 8, it means 8, but the 8 has its denominator, which is 1. This is the key to understand the division a whole number and a fraction. The 8 is a whole number, but even though it's a whole number, it does have a denominator, which is the number 1. All whole numbers do. So this is 8 divided by 1, divided by, I'm dividing because I'm dividing the coefficients. 8 divided by 8 divided by the fraction, which is 3/4, equals. From our last exercise, you know that now that we have the division, I can just cross multiply. So I'm multiplying 8 times 4, up, not down. 8 times 4, 32. 1 times 3, 3. I already got the result for the coefficient. It is 32 divided by 3. And now I'm going to divide the variables, x to the negative 5 divided by x to the negative 2. I'm using the word divide because it is a division. But even though it is a division, we do not divide the exponents. We subtract them when dividing. So what I'm doing is I'm subtracting, this is x to the, copy the negative 5, minus, because I'm subtracting, negative 2, minus negative 2. Two negative signs. The first one becomes from the operation, subtraction, minus, but this negative 2 belongs to this. The negative sign belongs to the 2, so this is a negative 2. And then the y, it says negative 2/3 minus what? We know there's a number up here, even though it's invisible. It's a number 1, minus 1. And now let's solve the operations in the exponents. This is 32 over 3 x negative 5, negative times negative, positive 2, y to the negative 2/3 minus 1. Now I need to stop because I need to solve this subtraction of fractions. And then we subtract the fractions the same way we add or subtract fractions when we have different denominators, which is finding the least common multiple. Let's show the subtraction. I'm subtracting, let me solve this little problem. I'm going to solve it right here, right? This negative 2/3 minus 1, I'm going to solve it down here. I'm going to copy negative 2/3 negative 2/3 minus 1. Negative 2/3 minus 1. But this one has a denominator as well, which is 1. So this is 1 over 1. Negative 2/3 minus 1 over 1. As you can see, this is a subtraction, but this subtraction of fractions has different denominators. And we know that when we have different denominators, we need to find the least common multiple for the denominators. In this case, the least common multiple between 3 and 1 is 3. And the process that we know. 3 divided by 3, 1. 1 times negative 2, negative 2. Minus, minus. 3 divided by 1, 3. 3 times 1, 3. And then I solve the numerators. It says negative 2 minus 3 equals, when adding or subtracting numbers and they have the same signs, the rule says that I need to add the numbers, which is 5, and we copy the same sign. In this case, it's a negative sign. Over 3. I already got the result for negative 2/3 minus 1 over 1, which is this one here. So the result for this is this one. So it's y to the negative 5/3. Now, there's something else I need to show in this result. Do not confuse yourself. Let's stop this part, which is missing. 32 over 3, x to the negative 5 plus 2, subtracting the numbers. We know this, and we copy the sign of the greatest, which is negative, and then we got y to the negative 5/3. But this is what I want to show you. It says 32/3 x to the negative 3 y to the negative 5/3. But be aware that this x has a denominator, which is 1. And this y also has a denominator, which is 1. So what I'm trying to say is that the 32, the x to the negative 3, and the y to the negative 5/3 are numerators. They are all numerators. The only denominator is the number 3. Because I can multiply and say 32 times x to the negative 3 times y to the negative 5/3 is 32x to the negative 3 y to the negative 5/3. And then I say 3 times 1 equals 3. These two results are the same. I'm just trying to show you the numerators of the result and the denominator. And here is the numerator, and here we have the denominator. And this is the process we use to divide monomials using fractions. And if you think this was an useful video, please feel free to subscribe. And if you want to receive further notifications, just subscribe and ring the bell. See you next time.